All right, good morning, everybody. This is the Helm Dev stand-up. Um, Today's July 5th, 2018. Today, we were wanting to do something a little different than the standard schedule. We were wanting to just discuss the Kubernetes 1.11 support for Helm 2. But before we get into that, I'm not aware of any announcements. Does anybody have announcements? Anybody have any issues with just skipping stand-ups? Or would like to just give a quick one? Correct answer. Just kidding. So if you weren't on the call last week, I gave a quick update as far as why it didn't go into the last release. There's a couple blockers for adding 1.11 support. Just real quick, I'll step through this again. So one is that generated Go code is no longer checked into the repository. So when you check it out into your vendor directory, it actually does not include all the Go files that it requires. And it is not easy to generate it. Just, you know.
Is there an issue on that somewhere about the
There
Go
is not.
code and generation? Okay.
There's not. I have a pull request that removes it if you want that. But I haven't seen an open issue for it not being in there. But you cannot now include Kubernetes in like a glide or a Go.
What about, so this is for client Go?
No, this is Kubernetes.
Okay, it's Kubernetes.
So if we want to build it, there's a number of issues with it. One, it relies on its own vendor directory for dependencies, as well as it relies on some stuff in the Go path. So we can't just run make in the vendor directory. As well as if we went down this path, then the dependencies that Kubernetes requires to build itself would then be required to build Helm as well. So that just ups the number of dependencies that Helm requires to build. Then another blocker is that they removed the client-side Reaper, and they just depend on server-side Reaper, which was only implemented in 1.11, and our backwards compatibility states that we will support 2 versions back. So that would break our SLA contract. And then the last issue is the main thing that we depend on from that repository is the factory and builder packages, and those completely got rewritten and are no longer anywhere close to the same APIs as they were before. So to refactor on top, it's just going to be a significant amount of engineering work just to get it to build and like copy pasting stuff from a Kubernetes directory that I built independently. I had to copy stuff out for the generated files into the vendor directory just to get that building. Even the client setup stuff, I had to add like a couple hundred lines of code just to get it to build, and it doesn't work. That's just to make everything happy for building. But it's still just, if you try to run anything, it just panics because I had to comment quite a bit of stuff out. So a few different ideas are, one, we say Helm.2 supports up to v1.10. And we look at rewriting the Kubernetes interactions for Helm 3. Because we can't it will break our backwards compatibility. And we would have to do a v3 anyway. Oh, the last one I forgot, sorry, is the print object. So running like Helm status, it gives you the same output as the printer did for cube control. So that all got changed. So changing output as well breaks backwards compatibility. So the possible solutions are, the first one is, what I was saying was, just punt on it for V2, say it'll be V3. Another option would be to remove it as a dependency in Glide and actually copy in the packages that we need directly into Helm. So it would no longer, so it would be,
That'd be Kubernetes 1.10 code. I'm trying to write these up.
Sorry, say that again?
Would that be the Kubernetes 1.10 code we would copy in?
Yeah, so we would copy in the existing Kubernetes as it is today. So we no longer would have that as like Kubernetes be a dependency in like Glide, so we wouldn't be checking out any code for it. And then try to bump client Go, API machinery, API. So then we get because that's the only benefit for the end user is that the API objects, right? The rest of it is all internals. So if we just bump what is important for end users, I think that would be sufficient for most people. Now, I haven't looked into see like how deeply nested the packages go to see how much we would actually have to copy in for 1.10. I don't know. I don't have any estimate as far as what sort of engineering work it would take to do this. I did do some poking around and found another project because I was trying to see what projects have upgraded to 1.10 that depend on it, and they're depend on Kubernetes, and none of them have really upgraded yet. So, but I did come across in service catalog, they actually did this where they copied in Kubernetes, and just have their own copy of Kubernetes. It's not in their vendor directory. So we would not be the first project to do this. Thoughts from the class?
So I have a question here. Just a quick question real quick. Which part, is all generated code gone, or is there a particular package or something? Which one are we relying on that the generated code's gone from?
Well, the one that is causing me issues is it's Kubernetes package generated, and what it is, generated translations. It's not there.
Generated like language translations?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's not something we use directly. It's something that we
No.
do indirectly through other APIs. So basically, it's a dependency of our dependency that is a generated thing that requires manually generating it now, whereas they used to check in a generated copy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's what removes it is that PR that I posted in chat there. It has the PR that actually removes it and adds it to the git ignore. So what they're doing is they're actually generating all that stuff on build in Bazel when they do the build. So
Bazel was never supposed to be used for all builds everywhere. That's something I want to go ask about, because Bazel was only supposed to be an optional thing, not a required thing. This would be a new change. Okay. I've got lots of questions I'm taking elsewhere. People are going to find me annoying around Kubernetes.
Yeah. Just for like context for those who don't aren't aware of like what this means, it would be the equivalent of us like not checking in the like gRPC Go code that's generated. So if you would git checkout, you would have a completely unusable.
And Go actually provides a facility for automatically generating code on a Go
Yes.
get, and they didn't
But
use that.
no, they actually removed it. They did have that, and then they removed it because they want to use Bazel.
Yeah, so they're focusing on Bazel first as their only possible build system.
Yeah, and that's in the discussion on that if you need that for reference.
Yeah, no, I do, because that is a change. The last time I checked in on this, which was granted the start of this year, Bazel was not going to be the only build system for Kubernetes. They were targeting as that being not the system, it was for others and not required. And so this is Bazel going that direction is something we should probably talk about, especially over in some place like SIG architecture. And I wonder what happened with SIG release there. So, okay, I've just got questions to go ask.
Yeah.
There, but because it impacts us too.
Yeah, no, and this is definitely a blocker, but this one is the easiest one to fix because this is like a problem that we can bring up upstream, and like this is something that can be fixed. All the other stuff, how they completely rewrote APIs and all that kind of stuff, like no, that's done deal. That's the stuff that's going to be painful. That's not so much a human issue.
So
we can manage around. Yeah.
On the potential solutions, one of the things that frustrated me and many Kubernetes users was when they deprecated kubelego prior to having kube, whatever the follow-on to kubelego was, stable. So kubelego's last supported release was Kubernetes 1.8, and whatever the new alternative to it is, Cert Manager, is still not marked ready for usage, and I still haven't gotten it to work. That has caused a lot of people a lot of pain. So given that I'm one of the people who complained about it, I feel like we can't go with option one. We can't say, look, Helm 3 is not ready, but Helm 2 stopped with the last Helm release. So I prefer not to go that route if possible, because I feel like that's just doing wrong by the community. I feel like that's us saying, we don't want to solve this problem for you, so we're going to leave you in the lurch until we get around to pulling off Helm 3. So I would hope that solution 2 or some other solution would be more palatable, because my opinion is that solution 1 is a non-starter.
I would want to agree with that. I think it will Helm 3 isn't coming in the next couple months, which means I think it would significantly hamper our market share and the supported view of the Helm project as a whole. I think it would just give us major support and trust problems, right? They're going to say, do we trust them to go forward and try to bend over backwards to make sure they continue to work? And so I think the negative perception of that means I don't like number 2, but I like it more than number 1, which is manually copy Kubernetes 110 code directly into Helm and fork it. And we could do that as an external project if we wanted to, create another repo of, stupid backwards compatibility issues and just import that. We could give it whatever name we wanted, create an independent package, whatever, test it separately and import it. However we wanted to, we could do that now. So that could be an option, but I think maintaining a fork of that might be it. And for Helm 3, looking for a more elegant solution to just dump all this all together. So we import nothing from the Kubernetes project unless it's Kubernetes client or something like that. And even there, I'm iffy on trust.
Right. So I think the main thing that I want us all to understand is that like what we decide impacts the what we've promised for Helm 3. Depending on the path that we go down, it's going to take engineering resources that we just have to be aware of, or be okay with the fact that this is going to shift around schedules. So that's something to consider as well, as that what we've promised there.
Right, and it would be a little bit difficult to be doing context switching constantly between Helm 2 and Helm 3, especially for
Yeah,
kind of work too.
I am fully aware.
Yeah. So is there?
So as a next step, I don't mind taking a pass at looking at what it would take to actually pull up Kubernetes 1.10 and then do a bump. I'm hoping it would be something pretty trivial, but it never is. But I can take a pass at that and kind of figure out how much of a time investment it would be. And then Farina, I don't know if you want to start going down the path of the generated code thing. Upstream or...
I will. Yeah, I'm gonna go start poking at these upstream and asking about it.
Okay.
And if folks want to be involved, just message me and I'll loop you in. I'm probably going to start with an email to SIG Release and SIG Architecture about it.
Include me on all this stuff just so I can
Okay.
at least be aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
As a point of clarification, this solution would be we fork only the pieces of Kubernetes that we need, but we are still going to try and track client Go and API machinery continuing forward, right? So in our next release of Helm, we would attempt to upgrade API machinery and client Go. We just wouldn't worry about upgrading Kubernetes core anymore because the piece we needed would be moved into Helm already, right?
Yeah, what I might do as a strategy is actually do a fork of Kubernetes and make the changes in there initially. That way, at least I can track any changes that happen upstream a little bit. It'd be easier to see what like security patches impacted. I don't know. I might take that back. I don't know. I just got to look into different strategies for handling that. I think on my first pass, though, I'm just going to try copying up from the vendor directory and then just doing a bump on all the other dependencies like Blanco, API machinery, just to see like how feasible this thing is,
Okay.
and then try to figure out a longer term strategy to see if it works first, and then go from there. But it sounds like we're all in agreement that that is the best option. Is that assumption correct?
And also, does anybody have any third options?
Yeah, if anybody has any better solution or worse solution.
Any solution at all.
Any solutions? All right, cool. All right, well, it sounds like at least we have a plan for moving forward, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, Adam, I would also ask if there are things where we're relying on it, if there's a simple list of what those are, maybe there's an easier way that some of us can go off looking for Helm 3 solutions for it while you're dealing with this. If you kind of say, okay, we're dealing with printers or we're dealing with this thing and this is what we need. We're doing with strategic merge. Is strategic merge one of the pain points from Kubernetes? That comes from Kubernetes, doesn't it?
Well, at least for Helm 3 right now, there hasn't been any changes to the Kubernetes stuff. So whatever changes I make in Helm 2, I'm just going to completely lift. So I'm not working on any Kubernetes client stuff in Helm 3 yet.
Okay.
So it should be easy to the changes that we make in Helm 2 to just transfer right over. So it won't be an issue.
And Adam, I will volunteer to, if you need a body to help you on this, you can come bug me, whether it's reviewing, talking, venting and frustration, or even need help coding something up, feel free to come bug me.
Okay, cool. Even if I just need like a cuddle or something.
Even if you need a cuddle.
Doesn't
It'll be a
sound-
long distance cuddle, but I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Cube cattle?
Ah.
I walked right into that. Didn't even see it coming.
Well played, sir. Well played.
Good job.
And that's not going in the meeting notes.
It's in the recording, so it doesn't have to be in the notes. It's preserved on the internet forever.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for taking so much time to talk through this one issue. I think it was important that we all got on the same page with it and fully understand it, because I think that the community is going to be asking a lot of questions. So thanks for that. Does anybody have anything else? We got 5 minutes left.
I actually have one last thing. So one thing we talked about last week was some form of messaging going forward for this. Do we want to discuss that at some point about messaging to the community and stuff, or do we want to do
What is
exploration?
this? Are you talking about Helm 3 or the 111 support?
The 111 support stuff.
Or,
Yeah, either a blog post or
I
an
will
announcement
write
on
a
the
blog
mailing
post.
list or something.
okay, we have a tribute.
We should probably at least send something out to the mailing list that says, hey, it'll be a little delayed. I know I said something last week in SIG apps about it, just to bring it up and let folks know. And this will come up again on Monday now that we have a much better assessment of what's going on. Thanks, Adam. We'll bring that up again in SIG apps. But we should probably take it out to the Helm community and share it a little bit more broadly. You know, like there's the 4 bullet points I think Matt noted here of, you know, why this happened. And we should just share it because it's going to impact other people, and it'll at least give a little bit of insight to folks on what the heck's going on, so they know. I think it's better to over communicate than under communicate, but I talk too much anyway, so maybe somebody else has a different idea.
Yeah, I think that sounds great.
Do we want to give Farina and Adam a chance to test out proposed solution number 2 before saying anything about it? Because what I would like to not do is get several false starts out there.
Yeah,
Or we can
if you
send
want,
them
I can have at least a go, no go by the end of the week.
Cool, then we can next week decide what we want to send out and maybe craft something on a Monday or Tuesday. We can do that async.
Okay.
Cool.
We should pick our people for next week.
Yes.
Let's
Let's see, who wants to Sherpa?
I can do that again. I didn't get much this week, but keep trying.
Cool. Some notes. And a leader.
I will volunteer as tribute.
All right, cool.
Nikhil, did you volunteer as notes? Was that your
Yes.
hand that raised? Okay.
Yep. Didn't realize I was on mute. Sorry.
All right, great. Well, thanks everybody, and enjoy the rest of your Monday.